Alright, in today's video, we're looking at the new settings for Warzone 2. These settings are up to date as of February 7th, 2023. I've been streaming and gaming on one PC setup and trying different settings over the while, and these are the ones that I find that are actually going to be working to the best of the abilities. I run a 3070 RTX card, an i9 10000K processor, 32 gigs of RAM, actually maybe 48 gigs now. They've upgraded that since. I had a 240 hertz monitor, which I've used, and then this is currently a 144 hertz monitor, and the graphics of the FPS are staying stabilized at that. Let's get right into it. Looking at your full screen exclusive makes it better. I have my max refresh rate on this current monitor, which is a 1080p monitor as well. Aspect ratio stays on automatic. These are on off. We don't need that. We set the custom frame rate to match your maximum of your FPS of your monitor. These two can be lower. That's not an issue with that. Shader optimization is the way it is. VSync I have off. Display, that's all fine on that. So moving into the next area, which is the quality. Quality presets I have custom because I'm using Fidelity CAS. Turn it down to 60 instead of the 100, which most people have had it on for a while. Make sure your render resolution matches the 100, which is exactly to be your aspect ratio of your monitor. Anti-aliasing, I've moved it back to Filmic because at SMAA, a lot of jagged edges, stuttering. Anti-aliasing quality, my PC is a pretty decent computer, it can handle its own. Slap that on normal. Memory scale, this goes anywhere from 50 to 90, depending on how broken this game is and depending on the updates that are moving forward on it. So now let's go down to the text resolution, normal, so that doesn't look too terrible, but you can see the VRAM isn't overusing itself. This is going to be on high. The nearby details low, distant level detail low, clutter distance short, particle quality low again, particle level quality normal. That does increase the VRAM, but we want it to be using itself. Bullet impact sprays, I have that on. I like to test the recoil in different firing ranges on different weapons, and it doesn't bother the gameplay at all. There's no FPS drop on that. Persistent damage off, shader quality low, tessellation off, terrain memory, this is always glitched, and it doesn't show anything because the game is messed, and it won't even show a menu in here. So I'll leave that on maximum, or just leave it on nothing that you have. I turn on-demand streaming textures off because I do not have Gigabyte Ethernet. If I did, you could leave this on and have no issues. Streaming quality low, volumetric quality is on medium, believe it or not, I've increased it. Deferred physics quality is off, water is off, shadow and lighting. Map res low, green space off, spot shadow medium, spot cache high, particle lighting low, ambient occlusion is off, green space off, static reflection quality low, weather grid normal, reflex low latency. I've tested this both ways. For me, on and boost, fastest good for me. Depth of field off, motion blur off, and this one's controversial because weapon blur I've always had off. I've heard and I've tried it. Apparently having it on reduces my micro stutters. I still have micro stutters for the first 10 minutes of the game when I first start playing, but then after that, it's gone. This setting actually has made a bit of a difference for me. Film grain, 0, we don't need that. I run a FOV at 120, affected weapon field of view is wide, so it lowers the recoil. Appears to lower the recoil. 80 for third-person view, wide for the vehicle view. These cameras here at least 50%, third-person and game perspective. So that is the settings for the graphics options to make this game run in low, pretty good with decent FPS. Audio, I've tried many different things, and so this one here we're rocking headphone bass boost, and we're doing a master volume of 100, and I have the maximum sets for those. I just changed the dialogue lower. I've taken the hit marker volume off because that way you don't get a misleading thing that you're going to get a down or a kill when you just focus on the actual shots, and voice chat depending on how loud things go. Moving ahead to the controller settings. I currently am using a Thrustmaster eSwap S controller. What that is this is a controller by Thrustmaster, and these module sticks actually can be removed just like that. So if you ever get stick drift, which you shouldn't on an analog controller like these, a modular controller, sorry. They have like mouse button clicks on them, which you can probably hear. The clicks are very smooth. They have paddles, 2 paddles in the back, and they have trigger presses as well on that controller. So that is what I'm using on this current game mode. Going into the controller itself, I use the controller settings for default, but I do tactical as well for my actual devices. Sensitivities are at 6 and 6. The only thing we're going to go into later is going to be a different multiplier for the custom zoom. This one here, we're leaving it the way it is at 1. And we move down into some of the actual settings in here. Aim down sight, hold, sprint tac, that's on default. Automatic tac sprint, hold, your equipment behavior, ADS and melee. Prioritize interact so you can pick up your items easier, and you have to hold to reload. Armor plate, apply all. In the advanced portion, this is more important. Aim assist on. You want aim assist defaulted. Gyro don't use. Response type for me, dynamic. Multiplier, leave that 100, 1.0. Instant. And the custom settings, this is where I find things make it a bit better. So the 6 gives you that snappiness from point to point. However, these ones can make it better for your actual recoil. So 0.8 for your low zoom, 0.8 for your 2 to 3 zoom, 0.8 for your 4 to 5 zoom, 0.9 for the rest. You can tweak those a little bit. This gives you some pretty good controller recoil. Dead zones. This is a modular controller, and it doesn't have stick drift, and it's a relatively new controller. So left and right, lowest possible. These, you go into the fire range, tap your right stick a little bit. If your gun starts to move, you need to adjust that higher. So usually 0.05 is going to be what you need for both of those options. These ones have a 0.99 and 0.05, so you press the trigger less and you get those shots that come off of it. Into the movement behaviors, auto move forward, I have that off. Double tap for the tac sprint. Ground mental is off. Partial for the airborne. Ground mental off. Invert slide behavior. I like this. The invert is that way I tap the joystick and you're dolphin diving off a building and your parachute pulls and then you're moving further and farther on the map. That's important. And that pretty much covers most of these controllers. I use it parachute auto off. Sprinting doors on. Mantle only. ADS stick strap off. The rest of these are pretty well on default. So that is the controllers, and that is also for that. The only thing left is your interface. If you haven't already set this and you want your paint colors, you gotta go into your interface, color customization, filter 2, both 100, custom palette, and this neutral setting here is where you're going to be changing it, because that way your pings will show purple once you're already out of the plane. That's key to make it look good, and that is it. If you find this useful, feel free to drop a follow, and I'll catch you in the next one.